Are you saying you faked with me?
Yeah.
I just had sex, and it felt so good.
Wrong. Now you're single.
What do you know about sexual relations?
Is it true that if you don't use it, you lose it?
I'm a little worried about being a slut.
You're listening to the Come With Us podcast, presented by Darling Way, talking the good, the kinky, and the ugly. Here are your hosts, Beth, Aaron, and Tina.
Hello, my darling friends. Welcome to Come With Us podcast. We're the naughty, fun, sexy education we all wish we'd had years and years ago, and the conversations that everybody overhears. It's amazing. You know, we have to record this in a studio because when the three of us get together and talk in public, I promise you, every other conversation around us stops and you can almost see people leaning towards us to hear what we're talking about. I'm Beth Darling, your sexy genius. I am here today with Tina and Aaron. We are going to dive into how to initiate successful, sexy fun. We all know how to kind of put it out there awkwardly, and then we all know what it's like to be rejected when we just want a little love, sexy fun, and touch, and giggles and grins, and then we get shut down. So today, we're going to figure out how do we make it work. So what say y'all? Glad you're here with us, Aaron and Tina.
I mean, if we're talking about getting shot down, I think I'm going to have more experience with that than the two of y'all, but well.
Oh my God. I don't know.
Really? You think you get shot down a lot?
I would say that I'm like a very sexual person. So, yeah, like sometimes, you know, if I could have sex every day, I would.
Aaron is here with his mouth like dropped open. That's an interesting thought, right? Most men cannot imagine a woman, let alone an attractive young woman, thinking that she gets rejected.
No, because you just go to the next one. Guys,
no. Well, this also is like if you're in like a relationship but you're right. I mean, I could go out and just, you know, get laid whenever, you know.
But frankly, almost any man can do that too. But the problem is that what we're talking about is we want people to be able to successfully initiate sexy fun with the person that they want to have sexy fun with.
Yeah. I mean, this is going to address more of the actual like people in an actual relationship more than just single, because if you're single and you see a girl at the bar and you're like, yeah, let's go do it. She's like, no, okay, cool. Where's your best friend? I'm going to go find her because I bet she probably would. Okay,
true. But I hope that actually the things we're going to talk about are actually going to also help somebody, even if they're just in a bar and want to pick up somebody else to have sexy fun. Because the fact is, the very basic truth is that if you want sexy fun with someone, you have to get them to want it too. Right? That's very much it. We're not looking at just getting somebody to say, oh, yes, do me. And that's, I don't know, married for 23 years, lots of BMS, boring married sex. I know a lot about, okay, let's just get this over with. That is not what I consider successful. It's not sexy fun, actually. It might be sex, but it's not sexy fun. So we want to figure out how to make it fun. And that means you have to actually get the other person on board. You have to actually turn them on. That's the key to getting sexy fun, is you have to turn them on so that they want it and you want it. Aaron's looking like that's impossible.
No, it's just, to me, I mean, again, if you're the person who's out there looking for it in the bar, you're more so just, I mean, to me, it's kind of like hunting birds with a shotgun. You use something that goes in a wide splatter, and you find, if you hit one, cool. You're not trying to, like, you're convincing a stranger to go have sex with you is a lot more of the, hey, we're having fun together, let's just keep it going into something else. Not when we talk about, like, when I hear initiating, I think more of the, like, Tina and I were talking about off the air, was like, oh, hey, start giving her a massage, or, you know, send him an emoji, stuff like that. Not like, because you're not going to do that to somebody, a random stranger in the bar.
Yeah, I feel like if you are in a bar and you already go home with someone, you're kind of already saying, like, I'm gonna fuck you. You don't need to, like.
No, that's absolutely true. It's how do you get them to go home with you? And I say that it becomes a question of figuring out what it is that somebody wants.
I think though that decision is mostly made by you, like, not by what the other person does. Like, if you want to go home with someone, like, you're gonna probably go home with them, like, no matter really what, like, sexy initiating they do, you know?
Well, I would posit that the way to successfully initiate sexy fun with somebody you know or somebody you don't know is that you might just do a scatter shot, but if you can actually get them into an erotic mindset, I think that is the fundamental, that's the key. When people start getting in an erotic mindset, that's when we start getting turned on, and then we want something. And that to me is what can work. Now, maybe in a bar, you might just get somebody turned on, they go home and take care of themselves, but probably there's some curiosity. So if we think of erotic mindset, have you ever thought about that, Aaron, when it comes to your wife, how you get her into an erotic mindset?
Yeah, but we're also in a committed monogamous relationship where, we're not... Like, trying to convince somebody in a bar is going to be very different than convincing somebody that you are in a long-term or an actual committed relationship with.
Okay, so for purposes right now, let's just start with, so if you're in a relationship, how do you do it?
Or I would say, like, this is even, like, pertainable to, like, it probably to people. Well, that's not true, because I think, like, if you meet someone on a dating app and you're there to, like, hook up and you like, for example, like, Netflix and chill, like, the guy still has to make the first move when you're like Netflixing and chill.
Well, I would say I'm not sure it has to be the guy, but somebody has to make the first move. There has to be an initiation.
You both have the expectation.
That's true.
That's very different than you're in a relationship. One of you just washed the dishes after eating dinner. You're sitting on the couch watching a baseball game or watching just a rerun movie on TNT for the 9,000th time.
But this could also,
and then you're like, and then that mood strikes you, but not them. Then you have to find a way to.
But also, okay, but we're not trying to argue which is easier or harder. So let's just go.
No, we're not talking about the easier or harder. Right. We're just talking about the difference.
Okay, so for right now, though, let's forget about the differences and talk about how do you initiate sexy fun? And let's just say for right now that it's with a partner. Okay, people can listen. If they don't think it applies to picking up people in a bar, fine. But let's just start with
we can also
partner.
address that too.
We'll wrap that up afterwards, but it's silly to keep arguing about it now. So what do we do? How do you think that you start initiating sexy fun with a partner?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of different things. There's, physically touching. There's, of course, like, if it's a partner where you're with long enough, certain erogenous zones turn them on even, most of the time when they're not in the mood. You can start, touching or rubbing on a certain spot on their body where it starts getting blood flowing to different parts of their body. Tina, you brought up off-air massaging or offering just a massage to someone and it progressing from there.
Yeah.
I mean, thoughts?
I have my own, but I think those are good ones. Usually I'll just say I'm so horny. Tends to work.
That's the way the female perspective works. Is I'm horny. Hey, okay, cool.
The back scratch one. I'm not a huge massage person, but I like back scratches.
Yeah, to me, massage actually, I love being massaged, but it puts me in a state of relaxation as opposed to turn on.
Oh, okay. I think back scratching is a good one for me. Flashing them like in public.
That's a good one.
And I think underwear is like a social construct, so I tend to not wear it a lot just because I think it's really dumb.
I love that.
So not wearing underwear, always, like, knowing that someone else isn't wearing underwear is kind of hot.
Right. It's the telling them that has to be. But not wearing underwear can turn you on, and it can for some people. For some people because it's unusual.
And one of these days when you're in a committed relationship, I will offer you this piece of advice. If it's something that you're planning on down the line of the day, put them on before you leave, then take them off and give them to him.
Oh yeah, that's hot.
Yeah,
that's your green light of like, hey, by the way.
Oh,
so that works a lot better.
Wriggle out of them in a restaurant. Take them off literally at the table and give them to them at the table.
Adventurous.
That's adventurous.
But then you could also go with, like, I like the idea of, like, I know it's cliche, but like the object thing. That whatever that is. So there's like the fridge magnet or the candle or any sort of like,
or a pillowcase
or like
a candle out
whatever,
by the nightstand.
Yeah, whatever that is.
A lot of people have truly a signal. It's their green light. I'm putting this out. You're going to see it, and you're going to know this means I want sexy at some point.
But generally, I think for me, again, like, you have to obviously be. I would say like the I'm so horny one is Just
Well, 'cause it's
whatever
blatant
your
to-
line is, like, you know, being honest and just saying, like, I don't know. That's what works for me the best. That's what seems to, like.
But I will tell you that in my marriage, if my husband just told me I'm so horny, that there is
Yeah, maybe it
nothing
doesn't
about
work for
that
guys.
that would turn me on.
Yeah, that's
Would
why.
not.
That's why it's different. Is that
Right.
for
So-
for a woman, it's a lot easier when they're in a relationship like that. They just say, "Hey, I'm getting turned on," or "Hey, I'm thinking about this." Then the guy's like, "Cool,
Okay.
I can jump to that lane real easily."
Some can, but there are men that actually don't want to have sexy as much as their wives and stuff.
I agree.
And
I'm always
frankly,
horny. Like,
right. And there's a difference because you also might be horny, but you might want sexy in a certain way. Right. So, so I talk about the 5 kinds of intimacy, and those are physical, emotional, sexual, romantic, and spiritual. Well, the sexual, you can have a lot of freaking sex, penis and vagina, whatever, blah, oral pleasure, sex, but it doesn't necessarily totally satisfy you. When I'm talking about successfully initiating sexy fun, not just an orgasm. So I want it to be how it actually measures up and satisfies. So I think that there are, when you're saying, okay, there's different ways you like to be touched. Perhaps your wife, Erin, likes to be touched. I'd say there are different ways that people can get into that erotic mindset. Some people need to be in the right emotional space. They need to be feeling very emotionally connected to someone to be able to get turned on. Some people want to be fulfilled in terms of acts of service. So there are women who literally will not get turned on if there's a pile of dishes in the sink, because that just freaks them out. There are men who cannot get turned on if there is still work to be done or something in their to-do list. So they need acts of service to finish those things up. Then they're free to get into that erotic mindset. Some people need lots of attention first. Just a quick, oh, you haven't paid any attention to me all day, now you're horny, is just, no, I got nothing for you because I'm not feeling anything. Some of us need just a general clear head. We need stress relief. And maybe that's where the massage might come in, where we let everything else kind of go. Maybe that's the setting. Maybe that's escaping the house. Maybe that's getting a babysitter. There are all sorts of things. And then that sort of spiritual, I love you, those words of affirmation. Oh, you're hot. I still find you so sexy. Those things. So I think there are different ways. And you have to understand, especially if you're in a long-term relationship, what it is that helps your partner get into this erotic mindset. So by way of example, I'll tell you, I met somebody on vacation this week, a couple, they've been together 38 years. It's awesome. And I could see, I met them around with a bunch of other people, and I knew, I specifically knew who it was that was still having sexy. You could tell. They're all drinking, they're all in bikinis and stuff. And I knew some of them were still not having sexy. It was together, at least. So I asked this couple, they have sexy every day. For 38 years, they've had sexy every day. I was so amazed and impressed. The guy lights up when he talks about his wife. It was awesome. But then when I said, so what about it? How do you keep it interesting? He's like, oh, well, I just get turned on when the wind blows. And I was like, oh, that's great, right? He looks at her, he gets turned on. I said, so what about her? What turns her on? He's like, I don't know. I was like, 38 years? You've never asked her? You're having sex with her every day and you've never asked her what it is that turns her on? Or you don't even intuitively know? He hadn't thought about. The fact that he got a yes from her was enough. I was like, oh, honey, you can elevate this. I promise you. Because we don't know. And so I think people should understand. So ask your partner what it is. What starts getting them turned on? Do you talk to your partners about it? I think you do, actually, Tina, right?
Yeah.
I mean, did you ask her?
I didn't. I asked her, but we were in a public place. Quite frankly, we were in a pool with a bunch of other people. So I didn't get a good answer from her. But she kind of paused like, ooh. Because really, I think what the deal is that when he wants sexy, she says yes. And that's kind of a good rule. There are couples that work like that. And she's okay with that. I don't think she'd ever actually stop to think what she wanted. And I would like to go into that in a better, more in-depth conversation, but I didn't have a chance that time.
Interesting.
But a lot of women have not thought about it. Do you know what it is that turns your wife on? Have you talked to her about that?
Yeah, different things at different times. It's like cracking a safe that has it's like trying to crack a safe in Vegas.
Yeah,
the
and it gets
combination
reset
changes every 30 minutes.
Yes. I think that's fair to say for them. But you should get probably an idea at least, which helps.
Yeah, there's times when I know specifically, and then there's other times that swing and a miss, and all right, cool. Go about my day.
In general, though, I think a lot of people some people just need, very much need physical. And then maybe that changes, but in terms of where they want to be touched or how they want to be touched. But I don't think people usually completely change from, oh, I need emotional commitment to now I only need physical. Do you? So do you have a general sense of the category where she is?
Yes and no. I mean, because see, to me, there are different times and there are different changes. So it just depends.
Okay. That's fair. Well, so I would think that maybe kind of asking, and at least because we talk about doing a yearly head to toe inventory. So at least maybe yearly kind of talking about the ways that we get turned on, I think would be kind of helpful and might address at least some general changes. And all right. So for example, things that might get somebody in an erotic mindset, dressing in their favorite clothes and or preparing their body to look really good, i.e. wearing underwear or not wearing underwear or
lingerie
or thigh highs or high heels, or hell, some men, they might wear regular plain old underwear during the week to work, but maybe they have some sexy underwear that makes them feel good, that makes them want to wiggle around a little bit and in a hot kind of Chippendales way, I'm not talking about like sashaying or maybe they do, but that's okay too. But some people maybe want the room prepared, like with ambiance. They want romantic. Maybe they want music and candlelights and picnic in front of the fireplace. Some people that could really work, right? Have you ever walked in and been surprised, Tina, by somebody who's really just set a sexy room?
Oh my God.
Doesn't it just make your insides just melt immediately?
Yeah. So like the person I'm seeing now loves candles.
Ooh, that is nice.
Or like is trying to get more into, like he told me he's trying to get more into candles. I'm like, that's such a chick thing. Or I think he told me that his ex used to really like candles and like that's who got him onto it. And now he's trying to like get into candles. But it's cool. Like I like it. Like he buys pretty like more like manly smelling candles. But yes. I like manly, like I like oud and like all those things. I'm not a huge like flower vanilla person. Yeah.
I actually think one of the things I tried to do was to come up with some different candles, because I think there's something about not just the scent, which is actually huge. And again, because our olfactory sense is so strong, if you get a little bit used to a certain smell and associating it with sexy, then that can pull you into an erotic mindset.
It also just like looks cool because it's like the only thing on. And,
exactly. And it looks good on a body where you're flickering and you're seeing things and the light is changing and the boobs. Oh, it's just beautiful, I think. So
men need to get more into candles.
Yes, I think that's a very good idea. And it's hard to walk into a romantic setting and fight. It takes a lot of energy. You really have to counter the energy that's present.
Big ass douche.
Yeah, you could be a big ass. Yeah. Okay, so different ways. Let's see. And these are questions, by the way, that you could ask your partner. You could say, which of these might turn you on the most? Doesn't have to be always turns you on the most, but currently in the next, where you are at this point in life. Maybe thinking about or fantasizing about a favorite sexy activity or role play or a taboo. And again, this could be making out in public. This could be, oh my God, I can't believe the idea of going out without underwear would freak me out. And yet maybe there's a little part of you that's going, that would be kind of exciting. So then another one would be if you were like on vacation and you didn't have to worry about other distractions and you only had the ability to focus just on your own bodily pleasures. That could be. That's why a lot of people like vacation sex. But then again, if you do that and then you do the same boring married sex, but you're in a beautiful location, it can actually highlight the boringness, which is weird. Have you ever done that? Gone, Erin, someplace where you were so excited to be, and yet then the connection, the sexy excitement is just not that great?
No. Usually when it comes to vacation sex, we both know that like hey, maybe we've been, slacking or throwing B game out there. It's time to step it up a little bit.
That's awesome. Do you do anything different to prepare for that or during the sexy?
I mean, different things happen. Just, it's less of because when you're on vacation, we don't have children, but we have animals.
Yeah.
So when we lock them out of the bedroom, you can hear the dog's tail hitting the floor as she's sitting outside. You can hear the cats who are literally meowing at the door. Like, what the fuck is going on in there? Why can you not let me in?
Aw.
So vacation sex is a lot more of like, rather than having extra distractions, it's you can take your time and just go down whatever road feels right at the time and just whatever happens, go for it kind of thing.
That's a good thing. Do you find that when you go on vacations, you have to take a little bit of time at the beginning to not even have sexy, but just to both of you individually let everything kind of go?
Yeah, kind of. I mean,
Yeah.
It also depends on the vacation, because if it's a literal 36 hours away or 2 days away, then it's not worth,
There's no time to waste.
You're not going to take an entire day just to realize that, oh, hey, I'm not around work and stress and life and stuff anymore. It's not worth it, because then you waste an entire day.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It also depends on where you go on vacation, because if you go out and, you find a cabin in the middle of the woods, that's one thing, because there's nothing around. If you're going to a big city that you want to explore, you also have to weigh the time between, okay, we could spend the next 3 hours fooling around in here, but at the same time, when we planned this trip, we knew we wanted to go to this restaurant and go to look at this museum and go to this. So then you have to start balancing out your time. And when the mood strikes, you have to either, go, fuck the museum. Museums are stupid. Or you have to go, all right, let's get this over with, because we need to, we made reservations for dinner kind of thing.
Okay, but museums, there is a museum of sex in New York City, by the way. There's a museum of dicks, cocks, penises in Iceland.
Yeah.
There are some really actually very sexy museums, just saying. So planning those into a vacation could be kind of cool.
I mean, if New York wants to pay me to go there, sure. I'm not paying money to go to New York.
Oh, I love New York. But okay, so again, different strokes for different folks. But I do think it's hard, and I think of vacations as activity vacations, i.e. where you're going to see or accomplish or do certain things, versus just vacations where you are embracing I don't want to have to do anything other than just be in the mood.
And by the way, for New York listeners, it's not that I hate your state. It's just that it's very expensive from friends and family that have lived there, and I'm very cheap. And,
Oh, but you can do New York on
paying $15 for a beer is not where, that's not something that ever sounds like a fun time to me.
We're so spoiled living in Houston.
I'll go out to the sticks where I'm paying $2 for a beer and call it good.
Yeah. There's an energy about New York. But anyway, okay. All right. So I think planning vacations, I think better to talk about this stuff beforehand, because if you're going with the idea of, okay, we're going to fuck like rabbits this whole time, and your partner is going, ooh, I want to see this and this and this, and making this endless list. If you don't talk about that first, you're going to be sorely disappointed. And I can't tell you as a divorce lawyer, how many couples come in and file for divorce 3 weeks after a really huge vacation. And I'm pretty convinced it's because they're struggling in their marriage, and they say, okay, we're going to try this one thing. We're going to do this. And then when they don't actually find the connection they're looking for, they're like, this is crazy. I don't want to spend my whole life where our best times are, the view is great, the accommodations are great, but our relationship is less than. And then they're disappointed. And partly because they didn't plan, they didn't actually talk and recognize how important intimacy was for both of them at a certain time. So,
I mean, I am genuinely always surprised how many people are together or have been together or get together who don't actually genuinely like spending time with the person that they're like as a friend. That's it, like as nothing else. Like, if you don't want to spend time with this person as just a friend, how are you going to want to be in a relationship with them? That blows my mind all the time.
Right. I think that is very true. What's interesting is that the opposite is also true. As people have been together for 20 or 30 years, they have gotten so comfortable in the friend, like they're roommates, which is kind of interesting.
You can also, I understand that you can grow apart. Like, I get all that after a while, but even in the beginning, I know people like who are in relationships that are less than a year or have been,
Right.
you know, who just don't genuinely and never like they don't.
I think we all have a couple
Like,
friends
what
that you're
is-
like, you look at each other and you're like, why the fuck you?
Yeah.
And like one of them will either you'll be out with one of them or one of them will go to the bathroom while you're all out as a group, and they'll say something and be like, wait, why?
Yeah.
Like, if you're saying this to me, look at yourself in the fucking mirror and say it when you're alone, and then really question, why the fuck are you doing it?
for
Well,
real.
it's easy because they don't have the confidence. I'm shining example. Again, I was married for 23 years to a guy who didn't like me. Literally didn't like me. And
But you liked him.
Like-
yeah, but that's kind of sick, right? That's
you
because
like
I had
spending
no
time? But
confidence.
But did you not
No.
realize that he didn't?
I did kind of. I just kept hoping he would like me. That if I did better, if I tried harder, that he would like me. And that I could earn it somehow.
Yeah.
But it was because of a lack of confidence. And did I know it at the beginning? Yes, I knew it at the beginning. I just didn't think I was likable. And I didn't think I was lovable. And I didn't think I could do any better. So the fact that he was willing to put up with me, I thought was good enough. And that's totally sad. But that's my truth. And that's why when I came out of that marriage, I said, I don't want to do this anymore. I have to believe in love. I have to believe that I am worthy. But I have to figure it out because I thought I was hideously ugly. I thought I was boring. I thought I was cold, frigid, and a pain in the ass. I know.
I don't know.
If
It's just,
there are words I would choose to describe you, I can tell you boring would be the very fucking last thing ever.
And I thought I was. I really didn't believe this. This is why. So I don't judge people. I know how hard it is. And I know how hard it is to get over that and to believe that maybe there is something. And now I know there's something special about all of us.
I mean,
Okay.
there's also
But-
circumstance that dictates a lot of like probably your situation more than
No, because the fact that I was pregnant when I got married, no, I could have done it. I shouldn't have been sleeping with him. I knew this before and I was fucking him. So no, there's no excuse other than to just recognize
I agree.
that I was in a bad place. And I encourage people, if you don't really like your partner and you don't really lust after your partner or they don't back at you, you're not in the right partnership.
I totally agree with
So
you.
you can aim higher. I know, I'm trying. So, but all right. So then let's think about whether or not people want to be turned on, whether they want to be like asked for sex like that. Oh, I'm so horny. Or, hey, baby, will you bend over? Or whether they'd rather be touched to initiate. Those are very distinct and different. Then maybe whether they want a subtle approach or a direct approach.
Yeah.
And what do you think, men?
I mean, direct for me is probably works better. I just, but I don't know. Yeah.
So I know what you use. You use words and directness
And
to
humor.
ask for what you want and humor.
Yeah.
What do you respond to from a partner, from
yeah,
a male partner?
I like the same things.
Yes?
Like would generally like the same things. I'm not a huge I like if we're sitting in a restaurant and like you rub my leg or you say something like a little dirty, but more to me it's more like in the pretext of like humor, like, you know, it's funny and like that's a, you know, and I respond saying like, yeah, sure, like when we get home I'm gonna fuck your brains out. But like I'm not a huge like sit in the booth and whisper in my ear. Like
That doesn't work.
No, not for me at least. But I'm sure for other people, but yeah.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. We're all totally different. If I'm wearing,
But I'm a little goofy. Like I like, you know, like,
Yeah.
you know, I'm not huge, like
You don't take yourself too seriously.
yeah, exactly. So I wouldn't want someone who like, you know, I also, I think it was interesting. I was thinking about this the other day. Like I tend to find sex to be like a little bit funny, and some people just
Yes.
like the act of sex, like it's humorous to me, sometimes I laugh, but some people take it like you have to gauge how your partner is. Like some people take it a lot more seriously and don't like the humor in the bedroom. I do. Like I like the, you know,
Yeah,
if you
well,
can just like make fun of
Yes.
the situation sometimes. But
I think people take it so seriously again because we're so uncomfortable and we're taught all these taboos about it and shame, and we're judging ourselves and we're judging everything. And so I think there are times where really taking it very seriously and really making love to a partner is huge and hugely erotic and passionate and amazing. But again, if we do that all the time, that's not it. We have to have a combination of sometimes we're laughing about it, sometimes we're silly, sometimes it's really serious and just emotionally intimate, and sometimes it's a little bit of one and the other. And
but again, I think you can gauge like from that I'm not one of the, like, I would prefer generally some of the best sex I've had, most of the really great, like, not like the one-off, but like the people who I've generally liked the most having sex with are the people who don't take themselves too seriously. So you probably can imagine that, like, to initiate sexy for me, like, it doesn't, it comes more from like a place of like fun and like casualness and like not anything like super, to me it kind of just screams, and I know this is probably wrong, but like a little bit corny or cheesy if you're doing like the whole like you know, suave, I want to make love to you, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
And some people get turned on, and
no,
it's good that
totally,
there's all
for
different
sure. I'm
things.
sure some people hate
But-
like the whole blunt, I'm so horny thing. Like, I get that.
It just doesn't work. But sometimes I will tell people that having a little bit of humor in there actually can be very helpful, because a little bit of humor allows for some mishaps. And that gives you, both people, room to put something there or to fart and to laugh about it instead of it being this grand opening, you know, and having this, everything is so perfect, everything has to be perfect, and then one little mishap and it totally takes your head out of the game. So, you know, a good combination, I think, no matter where you are on that scheme, is to allow for some oops, I think.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Aaron, what about for you? I know anything your wife would do, you would respond well to. But if you could pick your ideal, in your sexy ideal world, how would she initiate sexy with you?
I'm actually a lot like Tina, like the direct, because I'm not diagnosed with ADD or anything like that, but my mind is always going a million miles a minute trying to think of, you know, I'm very task oriented in life. So even when I'm, you know, there are very few times where I'm just sitting there not thinking of things. Like there are times where I can turn off my brain and just, you know, enjoy a movie, but it very rarely happens. I'm usually on like a to-do list in my mind, like, hey, I also need to plan 2 weeks ahead for this, for my, you know, for work, or I need to make sure that the garage is cleaned out by the end of May, because once it hits June, it's going to be too hot. I also need to make sure that it's been raining. I need to mow the lawn as soon as it dries up, but I need to make sure it's not too wet. So
a direct will basically clear those thoughts out of your mind?
Yes. Because
Okay.
it doesn't,
That's
because
interesting.
sending subtle signals isn't enough to get my attention and to, I guess, get the point across. Like, I need more of a, hey, focus, like, stop thinking about other things and stop being in your head. Just pay attention to what I want.
Oh, okay. That's good, because to me, a direct won't do it. That feels more intrusive in my ADHD brain. It becomes then like, oh God, now I have to do this or something, versus getting me really sort of turned on. So going to dinner in a short skirt and having somebody work their hand up my thigh and everything and start getting my body aware, those are going to start chasing the thoughts out. And then when I'm more aroused or whatever and they're teasing me, then it's like, okay, are you ready to go home? Fuck. I'm like, yes, please.
Yeah, like, so I don't turn my brain off a lot, but when I need to, I can without an issue.
Oh, that okay.
So
Maybe
I can
that's the
easily,
difference.
the second you tell me, hey, turn off your brain, it's time to do this, I can go, okay, that's no big deal.
Okay, so
Like,
maybe that's
like going
that's
to
a good
sleep.
thing.
I can always fall asleep within 5 minutes because it's never an issue for me of just, okay, close your eyes and go to sleep. Okay, it's no big deal.
Okay.
I don't feel that need of, like, there are things that go through my mind and stuff, but when I decide, hey, I need sleep,
You've got
those
the
things,
controller.
shit's gonna wait.
Okay, I don't have the controller, so all right. So I think that's good. So you can ask somebody again, would they rather hear words verbally or touched physically to get turned on? Would they rather it be subtle or direct? And maybe another way would be to think, do you want to be surprised by it or do you want to see it coming? Because again, some people maybe in the morning are going to want to know.
I love morning sex. Best. Well,
Okay.
I mean, that I think is like the go-to usually for most people I've been out with is like this morning spoon, and then it goes from there or something like that, you know?
Okay, but do you want to know in advance, or Because some people in the morning,
I mean,
they want to know because they set the alarm, and when they wake up, they have a time frame. I got to do this and this and this. And if you're like, hey, I want to spoon and fuck you, they're like, no, I'm going to be late for work. That's not going to be
obviously,
good.
if you have a time frame, that's different. But I'm just talking about like lazy morning,
lazy mornings,
stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in general,
that's kind of unfair though for your partner to like, if you know you have to get up in 5 minutes, then to like, I don't know, try and initiate some shit. Like that's fucking, or I mean, you can shower sex is a great thing in the morning if you do that, so there are other ways.
So I think asking your partner, would you rather be surprised by it? But I will tell you, the caveat is if you're going to surprise somebody, you better know their schedule and you better know that there's some flexibility in there, because otherwise they're going to be fighting you. And I think reasonably. But I'm with you though. I love morning sexy. Do you like morning sexy, Aaron? Do you get morning wood?
It's been a while, but yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
you like anything.
I don't have lazy mornings though. I never ever have lazy mornings.
Yeah.
I am like whether it's I wake up to an alarm or I just wake up naturally. The second I'm up and I'm moving.
You don't like sit on your phone though in the mornings?
Maybe for a whole like 30 seconds while I'm brushing my teeth.
Like in bed, you don't like check your phone?
Like I'll open up my phone real quick to see what time it is and make sure I didn't miss any emergencies. But other than that, like I'm gotta move. I'm up. Like when I wake up, I jump out of bed. I'm out of bed. I go to the bathroom. I brush my teeth. I start my coffee, and then I start doing whatever I need to do.
But if your wife said, "Hey, honey, why don't you come back to bed and spoon me?"
Oh, I do in a heartbeat.
Yeah, exactly. That I appreciate that. Aaron is always, you're so willing to adjust, and I think that's
oh yeah, huge. I'm more like a chameleon when it comes to that stuff. Like I'll find something that my wife could do that doesn't turn me on, and then I'll give you $1 million because
I love that. For me, if I go back into bed, it's hard for me to get out of bed. Once I get back in bed, I swear I just want to stay there and never get out. But I love the spooning and stuff, and I like this before. I don't know. At some point, Tina, you and I were talking about that, spooning sex.
Oh, yeah.
And
be careful with that, ladies.
Yeah, but so tell them what you call it.
Oh, okay. It's lazy boy sex.
That's what Tina called it. And you know what I call it?
This is a term I call it.
Right. I call it old people sex.
Yeah.
Because I just find it takes no effort. It doesn't really hurt.
Exactly.
It's so much fun. So yeah, and I laugh about
it
old
doesn't
people
really
sex.
hurt until it really fucking hurts.
Yes.
So look, then that's like a warning. I am going through a little bit of like let's call it a sexual injury.
Yes. So that's our next show. We're going to talk about this. How do you deal with sexy during pregnancy, for example? Because we know several of you listeners have written in, and we love hearing from you. But pregnancy and those issues are really a struggle for people trying to figure out how to maintain sexy intimacy, as well as then during any sort of physical health issues, etc., diabetes, cancer, God forbid.
Yeah. But I would just say that, like, for this episode, just remember also, like, just to switch it up sometimes. Don't always do, lazy boy or old people sex. Like, you can start like that, but, switch it up and try some other stuff. Even though that position is, like, it's very easy. It's very convenient,
Yeah. But have questions. So I think a lot of people maybe want to just ask their partner, okay, what would turn you on? And then if you're like me, I'd be like, I don't know, give me some context. So I think writing some of these ideas down and different options, and then having a conversation back and forth with them. One, it'll change any dinner conversation into a little bit more exciting than usual. So, and then you can also ask them about whether they prefer to have, for example, their neck kissed or their ears kissed, or would they rather have a romantic conversation? Would they rather undress themselves or have you undress them? That's a big one. I think a lot of men really love the idea of a woman undressing them.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Yeah. I think it's just this idea that a woman wants them and wants them to be naked.
They want to work for it. Yeah. They're willing to put in the extra effort of, getting your man naked. That's like okay, that you really do want this. You're not just saying, all right, just do it, get it over with.
Yeah. And I think there's something about that women, I think we're more open about wanting to be desired. We're open about wanting and needing words of affirmation and to feel sexy. Men don't put that out there. And so the idea that a woman actually does find them desirable and wants to see them undressed and et cetera, I think that's a big one. So I've been told. I'll tell you also, I think men actually like getting underwear for gifts. I've had so many men who've told me they bought lingerie for other people.
Yeah.
And nobody's ever bought them something.
But also, I also think that like it's men's underwear is like a very specific thing. Like some guys like certain types of like you have to know what you're buying for that dude.
Well, I'd say the same thing for women. That's part of the problem. But yes, whole nother thing. What about some people? I think you have to ask this question because a lot of us women are, quote, good girls. We don't really want to admit these ideas and desires that we have that are not so perfect and romantic. But for example, some people really want to be pushed against a wall and shown that they're in, like somebody else is in charge. We want maybe our hands held up above. And frankly, there are men who want this too. They want a woman to say, strip down, get on your knees and lick me until I say stop. And some men will go, yes, 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 here we go. And the fun begins. So, but those, if you just ask generally, you might not get that answer. But if you say, what would you think? Would you like it if I did that? Or would you prefer to push me up against a wall, etc.? Then I think that's a great way to start a conversation, even if it includes some blushing. Dirty talk, sexy pics. Again, don't just say, do you like sexy pics? Ask, what kind of picture could I send you that would turn you on?
Yeah.
That is a really good one. And it could be women, I think, putting your finger in your mouth and sending a pic of that to a guy. Most of the times, that'll pretty much do it. You don't have to send a picture of your pussy or your boobs or any part that you're not thrilled with. There are lots of different ways to send a sexy pic. What else? Oh, what about talking about other people's sexy? Looking for sexy. I think that's a great way for people to start sharing what turns them on. And especially if you've been with a partner for a long time, you think you know them, they think they know you. But inevitably, there's stuff you don't know about them. And it's hard to say for, myself, I want this or this. But if you go to a restaurant and you look around and you pick some couple or whatever, pick an individual, say, all right, what kind of sexy life? What do you think that person likes in sexy? And the other person just starts making shit up. It's amazing what you'll get out of people. And the shyest, quietest, most uptight people might have the wildest imaginations about what that other person is doing. That can be a great intro because then it's like, ooh, well, would you like that? Etc. And it makes for, again, a much more fun dinner conversation than about how to pay the bills. So, and also, I guess the one thing that I think starts everything is that until we're comfortable with ourselves and our body, probably none of this. Some of this might help us get comfortable with it, but you really have to start with that core of who you are, that you're entitled to sexy, that sexy's okay, that it's important, that it's valuable, that it's helpful in life and it helps your relationship. If that's an issue for you or your partner, I strongly suggest that you check out my book, Love and Laughter, Sexy, Meaningful Fun for Everyone by Beth Liebling, Liebling. You can find it on Amazon. And I would suggest it's a really good way for women. I wrote it for women to give permission to be a sexual human being because during my marriage, I did not feel like a sexual human being or sensual. And we did. We had boring married sex. I probably had sex 3 times a week. It was not much fun. It just was sex. And I didn't know it was okay to really enjoy it or how to ask for what I wanted. So Love and Laughter, Sexy, Meaningful Fun for Everyone. I know, Aaron, one of the nicest things you ever told me was that you read it twice.
Yep.
Before we did this podcast. So it wasn't because you had to or anything, but can you tell people what did you like or why was it different? Had you read books?
I mean, I've never read, it's so in high school, the joke with guys was, if you want to know, like, because girls pick up magazines like Cosmo and shit like that all the time. It's like, oh, here's what your guy's thinking. Bullshit. They're selling you a magazine. You want me to write a magazine for women to know what guys are thinking? Page 1, make sure he has food. Page 2, make sure he has orgasms. Page 3, let him sleep a little bit. Page 4, go back to page 1. Feed him, fuck him, just stop complaining about things, and we'll call it good.
Sorry, wait. My bad.
Feed him, fuck him, stop complaining about things, and then you're good. Now,
oh my gosh.
On the contrary, for guys, if you want to know really at least a beginning, wandering into a female mind is a goddamn mystery and a maze and an enigma wrapped in a fucking Rubik's Cube of itself. But if you want to start and acknowledging, that is a good damn place to start. That's why I've read it twice, is because eventually you start walking down the stairs into the basement that is the female mind, and that book makes sense of it. It's a lot more. Guys, we are fucking simple as all hell. You need 3 pages and then a go back to page 1 thing.
I disagree with that a little bit about men, just to say, but I do appreciate, given all this. This is why the fact that you liked it and you read it, it really means a lot to me. I take that seriously.
Yeah. And I mean, eventually, I probably should read it again because I need yet another refresher that women are way more fucking complicated. And trust me, when somebody gives you an entire roadmap that I want you to drive from here to Vancouver, but you need to hit 18 stops along the way, well, you need to fucking read it again.
Yeah, that's probably true. And because it does change. But so thank you. I'm blushing, and but things like that mean a lot. Y'all know I take this stuff so seriously, and I really want to be of help, and I'm glad. Like I said, my favorite quick review was a lawyer friend who told me that Love and Laughter, Sexy, Meaningful, Fun for Everyone was a sexual translator. And I really like that. That he had no idea what it was like to be a woman, and that helps. So thank you. So heads up, it is written for women, but I do think it's good for men because it is a view into our heads, our uptight, crazy.
It is, and when you look at magazines, men's magazines are geared at entertaining men. Maxim, For Him, any of those old like Playboy, they're geared towards the male perspective. What is going to entertain the male reader? Female magazines are geared towards females who want to quote unquote learn about men. So it all still revolves around us. There is no like male guy that says, "Hey, by the way, you want to know how to get your, you think your girlfriend is going batshit crazy over the dishes one day. Here's actually the real problem. Here's what you need to start diagnosing." And that's more of what the book does. Hey,
yeah, that's true.
If she yells at you over this, it's not that. You got to start peeling a goddamn onion first before she yells at you because you left a dish in the sink. Don't tee off on her for that. Just start peeling back an onion and figure out what actually is the problem.
Okay, and I like that. And that actually, though, is so true because, and that's true for men too, because you'll snap at stuff that may or may not have anything to do with what's actually going on. There's always under stuff. But this is where the role of actually having sexy intimacy, sexy, romantic, spiritual intimacy together is what gives us all the confidence and the connection to be willing to peel that onion.
Yeah.
Because otherwise what happens in relationships, again, 25% of marriages are sexless. In those relationships, when there's not that intimacy, they don't really have much of a desire to dig deep. They just don't have that connection and that desire to okay, let me really understand, let me help this person. Sexy is a way of actually connecting and loving. We have to remember that. And it's never just quote sex. It is at its best. It is absolutely loving intimacy and connection, and it gives us strength to deal with everything else. But okay, so again, so we have to feel sexy. All of us have to feel sexy and desired. During so many marriages and during mine, there are women I've heard, they describe themselves as, oh, I just feel like, quote, a hole. We feel like, and this can happen sometimes if a guy just says, a husband says, oh, I'm horny, or maybe a wife says, oh, I'm horny, that we can feel more objectified. We just feel like we're satisfying their need as opposed to increasing connection. And I'm not trying to say that's not a good way to do it. I'm just saying, be careful and make sure that you've also got that connection. And if your relationship is going through a rough spot right then, you might need to reassure that connection by saying, I am so horny. I've been thinking about you all day. Like, I want you. I'm horny because of you. Not, oh, I'm just horny in general and I have to make do with you. But I want you. I want to feel close to you. I want to be inside you. I want you to want me. I literally want to touch you. I want to feel success that I gave you, that I helped you get to an orgasm, whatever that is. Please make sure that you emphasize and make it personal, not just, sometimes you can. Again, there's not an all or nothing, but if you haven't been having a lot of sexy fun, I promise you that making it personal will really help for any person, right? Does your wife ever do that? Just talk about how she just really freaking wants you to do something, or how much she loves something you do?
Occasionally, yeah.
Don't you feel like king of the world then?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I want people to feel like kings and queens of the world. Like, oh, they just got this. They are wanted. They are loved. They are hot as hell. So,
Hell yeah.
yeah. Do you like that? Do you like it when people say, because Tina, you are so confident, and you're one of the most body confident people I've ever met. And I so admire and respect that. But then do you still want that sort of affirmation from partners, or does that make you uncomfortable?
No. I mean, sometimes, yeah. I think that, yeah, it's always nice to hear nice things about yourself. And I think it's nice to, like, give it back, you know?
Right.
Again, and you can also, it doesn't always have to be, like, you know,
Over the
super
top.
serious. You just be like, oh, you look, you know, you're so, like, you're hot. Like, that looks hot on you. Or, like, look at your ass in those jeans. Like, I like that.
Uh-huh.
You know, stuff like that.
Do you find
know?
it easier to give those kinds of compliments or to receive them?
Yeah, both.
Okay.
You know?
You receive them well?
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
good.
I would say yeah.
Okay. I think receiving them is often hard for people. So I think we really have to practice actually letting ourselves feel that and saying, you know, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
It's true. Or I feel that. Or yeah, letting ourselves. Okay. And then I think a very important conversation is to ask your partner during their ideal sexy time. Like, are they really into, does the hugging or cuddling or the words make a difference? Do you want to be admired, or do you want to admire? Do you want to be watching some porn or something sexy on the TV? Do you want to be hearing something? And how rough or not do you want?
Yeah.
And even sometimes, because women can change all the time, asking those on a more regular basis, going, oh, I could just eat you alive, but do you want me to hold back and restrain myself and be a little more gentle today? Gives a person a chance to be like, oh, yes, but we can know that the partner wants to be adventurous. So anyway, so those kinds of questions I think are good. And again, dinner conversations, start talking about the wildest fantasy. Ask your partner what kind of fantasy they could have, or if they could watch or read, whatever their preference is, a story. What story would they like to see or read the most? What would that be? Because that's pretty freaking hot.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think making up erotica is all sorts of cool things. So, okay. What about, do you think, is that good? Like, Aaron, what are you going to go home and do?
I mean, today,
Sure.
I'm going to go home and do chores, but
Okay. Well, when it comes to the next time you're going to initiate sexy fun, have you thought, is there something here that you're thinking about that works to you?
I don't know. I mean, there's going to have to be more conversation about it first. Probably to just retool and I guess lay out a plan of attack, because eventually you also, again, having that conversation, you know, once every few months or once a year also kind of gives you the ability that when you're in the mood and your partner's not, if you go to, you know, if you try move one and move one doesn't work, well, you need to have a backup plan. Okay, what are the next three best options, so I can start going down the list, rather than, well, I tried move one and move one didn't work. Well, fuck it, I'll go take a nap.
Yeah. Oh, and I feel rejected, and I'm pissed off.
Yeah.
one, I
Yes.
feel like that's a
And
big
now,
one.
now I'm mad, and
Yeah.
now I'm not going to talk to her because she won't give me sex, or blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Just cycles. That's going to. So I think maybe everybody celebrates anniversaries, whether it's of your first date or it's of a marriage or whatever it is, or the first time you fucked. I think anniversaries, we should think of them kind of like work reviews. I think that they should be a celebration, but a month before or 3 weeks before, there should be okay, let's sit down and let's look at the past year. What was good? What do we need more of? Where do we stand? What's changed? What turns you on? What blah, blah, blah. That would be so helpful. It would give us a bit more of a roadmap, as you will, for going forward, don't you think?
Oh, yeah.
And I think that gives people the opportunity to express themselves in a good way. And one thought, because those conversations might be hard, and I suggest to have that conversation. One way to do it is for both of you to get stripped down or into something comfortable, But basically, take your shirt off. If you want to wear a bra or something, fine. Sit back to back with each other. So you've got skin to skin contact, but you're facing away from each other, which gives people the ability to actually say things that might be a little bit harder. And it gives people a chance to process without having to express shock or have somebody see or judge or anything. So I think that back to back skin to skin contact is a great way to have these, like that annual review.
Yeah.
So I think that would be good. Okay. I think
well, we at least started you down the roadmap of how to,
we've given you so many ideas.
Get that,
I feel like.
get that thing initiated.
Yeah.
All right, Tina, are you going to do anything different? Or have you thought of anything?
I wish. I currently cannot have sex right now because of my injury. I am going a little crazy, so...
Oh, but are you having some at least sexy connection?
Yeah. I mean,
Good.
we're, again, like, I am pretty open and I tend to, like, be easygoing, so, like, humor is a good way to kind of, like, get through this, but, you know, like, I feel bad. Like, I feel like... You know, you want to, like, number one, I'm just very horny. So right now. So, and number two, like, you want to be able to, like, you know, give someone pleasure and, like, do so, you know, like, stuff like that. And if you just can't, it sucks. But you can, because I am going to go home and probably give, like, I said, I'm going to give you the best blowjob you've ever had in your life. So I'm setting the bar really high.
Yeah, that's a big, bold move. I would be like, well, I'm going to give you a really good one at least.
I don't even know if, like, I think I'm pretty confident. I mean, I don't think I'm the best at ever giving head, you know, but I would say, like, I'm okay, but I'm going to try. Like, I'm going to use this as a learning experience.
Have you done my How to Blow His Mind While Loving His Body on sexyedschool.com?
No.
Okay, you're going to. I want you to do that. That's going to be my gift to you, is you can go to sexyedschool.com and go watch that. And then you can, and there's the partner one, which is for him, basically, how to orally pleasure you. All right. So you'll watch that. Then you'll sometime give me some feedback about that. Yes.
Yeah. But anyways, so, you know, you right now I'm not doing the
You're
vertical.
not doing the penetration, but that's such a tiny little part. Yeah. You can still probably have an orgasm.
But I don't think so. I don't think I can
You're feeling that bad.
Yeah, I can't.
All right. Well, that's good though. It's good to recognize that other people have needs, even if our abilities are somewhat limited, and good for you. So, all right. Well, thank everybody for joining us today. This was so much fun, and I am so excited for all of us to go initiate successful sexy fun. Not just sex, not just fuck, but to have fun fucking fun. That's it. Fucking fun. Everybody go have fucking fun. Talk. Take notes, by the way. Oh, we should have said that at the beginning, but yeah, listen to this podcast. Take notes.
Yeah, we'll put it in the description.
There you go. And listen with your partner and then pause it and start talking about some of the things. And like I said, you might be surprised what you hear back. Even if you've been together 38 years, you still don't know everything about what's turning him or her on. So, okay, but now to make sure when you're going to go have fucking fun, and we want to hear all about it. Aaron, tell them how they can find us and share their stories and help us smile for them.
Yeah, make us jealous.
Yes.
Especially Tina right now, who's in a rut or a dry spell. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Come With Us Podcast, on Twitter at Come With Us Pod. You can email us your confessions, your thoughts, your concerns, stories, questions, any advice you need. Come with us confessions at gmail.com. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, make sure you rate us and leave a review so
Please.
more and more people can see us and find out that, hey, here's 3 crazy ass people talking about sex that, oh shit, I learned something. So make sure that somebody else can learn.
Yes, please. We'll beg for reviews. We're not too
proud to beg.
Yeah, we're not too proud to beg. We need these reviews. It's hard. There's so many podcasts out there, and we want to keep doing this. We have so much fun, but we want to make sure that it's for a good cause, and we want to reach as many people as we can.
Yeah.
Plus, we want to go travel because, again, we're still trying to get to Ireland, so we need even more fans there. Now we need fans in New York so that I have a reason to drag Aaron's ass there. Because I'm telling you, the world is opening up and we want to do some live events. We want to meet you face to face. We want to talk about sexy face to face. And oh my goodness, there's so many things we want to do with you because sexy is fun. And the more we share, the happier we are and the more we learn and the more we want to go do new things. So, all right. Thank you all so much for joining us for Come With Us podcast. We are the podcast you need when you want the bare naked truth about love, sex, and relationships. I'm Beth Darling. I'm here with Aaron and Tina. And thanks for joining us for this deep dive into everything from dating to squirting, kinky to furry, love, and heartbreak. Go have some fucking fun.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Come With Us podcast. Be sure to follow us on social media at Come With Us Podcast and send in your questions, comments, and confessions to comewithusconfessions@gmail.com. Until next time, keep it fun, flirty, and naughty.